Indira Gandhi National Open University presents to you a panel discussion on issues and concerns of families with adolescents. This discussion is the part of master's degree as well as postgraduate diploma programs in counseling and family therapy. Today we have with us Dr. Jitendra Nagpal, an eminent personality in the field. He is a senior consultant psychiatrist at one of the prominent hospitals in Delhi and also director of the NGO Expressions India that works in the area of life skills education and school wellness. He has been working towards child and adolescent development for more than 10 years. Another expert we have with us, Dr. Neerja Chadda, a senior faculty in the child and development with more than 20 years of teaching experience at IGNOU, who was also awarded a fellowship by ICSSR for research in the field of adolescents. She is also the program coordinator for these programs of study. Anchoring this panel discussion is Dr. Amiteshwar Ratra, who is IGNOU's NCDS faculty and also program coordinator of MSc in Counseling and Family Therapy as well as PG Diploma in Counseling and Family Therapy. Now over to Dr. Amiteshwar Ratra.
Welcome everybody to this panel discussion. I am Dr. Amiteshwar Ratra. Today, we are going to explore the issues and concerns of families with adolescents. Dr. Nagpal, do you think that the issues which confront families with teenagers today and the concerns that they have are different in the present day scenario than before, let's say a generation back?
Yes, madam, you were right. Absolutely. There is a lot of difference between what we see as the needs and concerns of adolescents today in the family and maybe about a decade or 2 decades back. One thing important is to remember that some of the human needs, which are like the survival need, nutrition, hygiene, sanitation, they are always the same through the generations. But what we see now is very different. The need for adolescents' own self-esteem, the identity, that the adolescent should be understood. Who am I? What am I? What am I going to be tomorrow? Will my father, mother understand me better? The needs about independence, autonomy, freedom. We see a lot of change in the society. The intense and rapid changes that have happened in the world of information technology, the exposure with the world outside the family, that has had an overwhelming effect on the communication and also the way we expect each other to perform certain roles. Like parents may expect certain roles by the children which children are not prepared, like ambition, career, their own dreams. So these are the new needs and concerns where adolescents need to be understood. Another thing which is very different today as the need in the family is human relationships. Sometimes the peer pressure is so much high, the child is not able to share with the parents. So the parents need to understand that sometimes communication with the children is to be much better than the peer group. Another important difference which we see is the career choices, the confidence to make a career, the confidence to go through the academics. Here is where parents need to be very supportive, very understanding, very empathetic, which is also a different need today. Lastly, for the time being, I feel the strength of character, the strength of integrity, the morals, the values, which are very important, family-based education values which are through generations, are also sometimes very, very difficult and confronted by so many parents because they feel that children are not ready to listen to them. So there has to be a mode, there has to be a method of communicating with the adolescents better. So these are the few differences which I think are the reasons for a lot of confrontation for the families who are dealing with adolescents today.
Okay. Now if one considers the parent-adolescent relationships, what do you think, Dr. Chadda, are the most critical elements?
I think one of the most critical elements in parent-adolescent relationship is connectedness, which includes aspects such as closeness as well as communication and involvement. So basically, aspects such as how close the adolescent is to the parents, extent of their involvement with him and what's happening in his life, the levels of communication, do they feel they can talk to each other and expect the other person to understand? And in particular, the adolescent's perceptions of all of these play a critical role. Very often the parents rank themselves very high on all these aspects. They are sure they love their child very much. But does the adolescent feel so? If the adolescent feels that the parents don't love him, one is in for a lot of trouble. On the other hand, if there is connectedness, the ground is ready to handle any problem that may come up, any misunderstanding or maladjustment issues that may arise.
Okay, so Dr. Nagpal, why do you think the conflicts arise? How are they different today?
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Chadha just mentioned a very important point about connectivity. I think the primary factor why conflicts arise very commonly today are expectations which are different from the eyes of a parent and different from the eyes of an adolescent. What happens is they need to meet some point. They need to share some moments, patience and tolerance about each other's phase in life. We are not saying that only parents need to understand that connectivity. Even adolescents need to understand that parents also are seeing this new change in the world today. So what we see is the conflict comes when the expectations are very high from the parents about the adolescent being ideal in everything, like being a topper in the school, being an all-rounder in games, being a good debater, being a good singer. Then we find comparison happening, and this is not correct. Because comparisons between brother sisters, between friends, and who is better than you, that person looks better than you are like this. Always children feel as adolescents, sometimes they are being nagged by parents. Unconsciously it may be happening. So we have to realize that conflicts happen naturally. One thing I want to mention here, that conflicts are not unnatural. They are natural part of growing up in a family. Even the family grows better if there are healthy conflicts. That means that you should have a dialogue, disagreement, but also try to sort it out with seeing the perspective from each other's opinion. What happens is everybody tries to be very harsh and strong. The parents feel that always they are right. Adolescents feel that they need not talk to parents because they are right. So we are encouraging and advocating a lot of connectivity and communication.
As you have just now said, interpersonal relationships of the adolescent with the other family members are often conflictual. So, you have a large number of years of clinical experience. Why do you think that the conflicts arise?
As I mentioned, what I see in clinical practice is a large number of young people between the age of 10 and 18 years, which is the period of adolescence, 10 and 19 years, are approaching for counseling. Either they come on their own, or they go to the school counselor, or they often are brought by the parents also. The common conflicting pattern seem to be that parents don't understand me. And the child would say, who is about 14 years, 15 years, the adolescent, I feel that I am disconnected. I feel that I am being taken for granted. They don't see the world from my eyes, my perspective. And sometimes I feel that it's a burden to be in the family. Well, they love the family, let me tell you. They love mother and father. They want the parents to be their role models. But unfortunately, somewhere, the distance, we are in a world of communication. But we are not in the world of real communication. It is virtual communication with computers, with internet. Children want that, yes, parents can spend some time, which doesn't happen. And many a times these conflicts lead to a lot of altercations in the family, to the point that reliability on peer group and outside world becomes more like a parent rather than actual biological parents. So it is important that the new era where the world outside has become a lot of pressure on the psyche of an adolescent, the parents need to appreciate that before they land up in conflicts which are very common based on how the parents want to see the life of an adolescent.
Okay, Dr. Chadha, it is usually believed that adolescents yearn for absolute autonomy and independence. Do you think that indeed is the case?
See, according to the individualistic perspective that Western psychology tends to go by, emotional autonomy from parents, seeking general autonomy and independence are important aspects of individuation, which in turn is considered to be an important developmental outcome of adolescence. But extrapolation of this perspective to the Indian context does appear to be fraught with errors. As the feedback from adolescents themselves in India indicates, unlike the Western focus on individuation, close ties with parents are considered by adolescents in India to be a major pillar of support.
Okay. Dr. Nagpal, why is it important to focus on development of life skills in the adolescents, and how should one go about doing so?
See, developmental psychology has been telling us through the years of research that adolescence is a period of storm and stress. Well, people sometimes say that no, it is not so. It is a period where young people need to be understood better. Now the concept of life skills evolved to understand that aspect of life a little better. We are at a transition point during adolescence, childhood into adulthood. That is the bridge over the troubled waters, sometimes called as the chaotic world, sometimes called as the very charming and beautiful world. Life skills help young people to be flexible, to be adaptable, to be more positive about their health and also well-being. Why life skills became so prominent, and even the World Health Organization now has life skills program across the world in many countries, because it was found in the last 20 years that life skills education as an adolescent helps me to be taking a perspective about responsibility, about being aware and also being empowered to lead my life into healthy, happy and harmonious stage. It is found that school-based life skills programs, which are actually studied from 6th standard onwards, not only from say 9th, 10th and 11th, actually shape up the personality of an adolescent to become a very confident young adult who is passing out of school and moving into life with so many vicissitudes and challenges. We feel that yes, a lot of research is still required, but whatever research about life skills we have, I think the world is moving towards a very responsible young adulthood after the adolescence.
Is there a growing evidence, Dr. Nagpal, about the positive impact of life skill education?
As I said, yes, there are longitudinal studies, and for that matter, we have studies from all the continents across the world, and now India is also implementing. The NCERT and CBSE have very strongly recommended the introduction and the implementation of life skills education as part of growth and development in schools. And schools, when they become the platform for life skills dissemination, life skills assessment, I think it has a far-reaching positive outcomes, and there is enough research available on both the process of life skills implementation and the impact it has on shaping the confident young human beings for the nation and also for their own lives.
Okay, Dr. Chadha, what would you like to advise the parents and other older family members regarding how they should be with the adolescents?
Parents and other adults in the family often feel that they need to be strict with the adolescents so that they don't go astray. But they need to ensure that the strictness and stern talk do not wash away the impression of love that the adolescents had when they were children. The adolescent needs to perceive the love, warmth, involvement, caringness, and open channels of communication to be a well-adjusted individual in the family and outside in life. Parents and other older family members need to be more open and accepting. Basically, high levels of communication and involvement are important. Then it turns easier for the adolescents to fight undesirable peer and other pressures. As per the feedback from the adolescents, parents should neither be too much of a friend nor be too much of a parent. Maintaining a certain degree of balance and a certain degree of authority is important.
Okay, Dr. Nagpal, what would you like to advise the parents and other older family members regarding parenting and nurturing the adolescents?
I think we all agree that in a new order of the world today, where families are the most important center for child development and adolescent development, not the school, not the society, they are all supplementary and supportive. But family is the bedrock of young person's development. Therefore, the knowledge of parenting the adolescent today in terms of the process of growing up, how young children grow into adolescence, what are the changes they go through like puberty and other physical changes, emotional changes, changes about self-esteem needs, changes about their emotional demands, and the attitude towards the adolescent. What we just heard is about the need to love and connect with them, to guide and monitor them, and also to empower them to lead their lives. Nurturing is a natural process, but that nurturing has to be done by effective awareness and responsibility on part of the parents for a very beautiful adolescence.
That's absolutely right, Dr. Nagpal. In fact, the adolescents themselves, ones that I have been interacting with, tend to feel that the family has to remain the major resource, the major support for them. As they said, if you share a secret with a friend, you just don't know to what extent you could trust. Peer group is supposed to be a major influence, yes. A major socializing kind of agent of during the adolescent period. But the adolescents today are kind of turning wiser in this respect also. While they may appreciate the company of peers, they do realize that when it comes to trust and support, maybe they are not always the main pillar. Like, as I said, if you tell something to your friend in confidence, you share your secret, you just don't know whether the whole world would have heard of it by the next day. Whereas with parents, you need to have no such fear.
Absolutely.
And what the parents would have in mind for you is basically your interest, which may or may not be true of the peer group. So I guess while one does have to accept and reckon with the fact that peer group remains very important in the life of the adolescent, at the same time, we need not negate the family, both as a resource and maybe a detrimental influence. So we need to convert the detrimental influence, if at all, like the perceived strictness might push away the adolescents, into a support system that the adolescents can always fall back upon in times of need.
I completely agree, and I'm very happy to hear this from you, ma'am, with your wide experience on this. In fact, there are a couple of myths which I would like to share at this point. The first myth is that my adolescent doesn't want to talk to me. Actually, the adolescent wants to talk to the mother and the father. And a lot of scientific research is telling us that if parents can take care and take the initiative to walk up to their adolescents, especially concerning issues of growing up, sexuality, vulnerability, peer pressure, they would want the adolescents to have role models in parents. And parents need to be first communicating this between each other, the mother and the father.
True.
Second myth, which is that all teenagers will be unruly, will be crazy because they go through this storm and stress. Well, let me tell you, adolescence is a very beautiful moment of life, and sometimes they can be excellent parents for their own parents. I have come across many young adolescents, 11 years, 12 years also, who have actually modified the behavior of their own parents. They have guided parents to be healthier communicators between each other. So I think we need to learn as a family, and family is a beautiful unit in our culture. In India especially, family is the bedrock of confidence and values. I think we need to nurture that, we need to keep it going, and also help teenagers come across a very confident parent in the family rather than an insecure parent who is not being aware and responsible about the adolescents.
Absolutely right, doctor.
Well, we can then conclude it by adolescence as a period of charm and challenges, tremendous potential and also vulnerabilities. Therefore, it is very important to appreciate and address their needs and concerns, understand them better, and provide an effective milieu in the family and the society to nurture the infinite potential and prepare them adequately for the life ahead. Thank you, Dr. Nagpal and Dr. Chadha, for sharing your experiences with us.
Thank you, ma'am.
You have just heard a panel discussion on issues and concerns of families with adolescents. Participants were Dr. Jitendra Nagpal, Dr. Neerja Chadda, Dr. Amiteshwar Ratra and Sangameshwar Rao. Content coordinators were Dr. Neerja Chadda and Dr. Amiteshwar Ratra. Sound recordist Parvesh Kumari. Non-linear audio editor Naeem Akhtar. Producer Sangameshwar Rao. This program was brought to you by Electronic Media Production Center of IGNOU.